Let's go. Recording now in progress, right. So we are here today as the inaugural podcast. We have myself, Preston fan, the Town Enders, as you all know. We have Matty, one of my best friends, also a Bolton fan. Say hello. Oh shit, is your mic working?
What a start.
Great start. Fantastic start. Don't worry. We'll sort this. Hello?
Is this common for you Northerners? Christ, honestly, you haven't
don't
even mastered,
this is a fantastic start.
Of sound recording north of the Watford Gap. What is wrong with you lot?
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolutely fantastic start to the podcast world,
There you go. See, this is
it's the dream start.
Sets the tone of how you mean to go on.
We'll just go for a bit.
Big shambles.
A bit of banter.
Completely great watch.
Exactly.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Fantastic.
There you
go. We're cooking on gas. Right. And now we have Scott.
We've got electric down here. We're a lot bit more advanced, you know what I mean?
So now we have Scott, a Southend fan, who we got on today, and hopefully we'll see him more. Possibly.
Yeah, I came on in pity because one of my friends see on Facebook that you wanted someone to come on for your inaugural podcast, which I was happy to do. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't do it with a slight bit of pity, because I wanted to sort of raise your profile and raise the elevation of this prospective podcast. Not to mention the fact that with you two in it, it's very northern biased, and obviously to counteract that balance, you need someone from down south.
Oh, we've got a bit of north-east south banter.
So yeah, pleasure.
Right, all right then. Right, so of course we're here to talk about Southend United. That is what the episode is about. But first, we'll have Scott, who tells about yourself and maybe your journeys as a Southend fan in the past.
So I'm 37, but I feel about 57. I've supported Southend. My first game was in 1990 against Newcastle. We won 4-0, and that day when we won, we reached our highest ever league position, which was for one day top of the what is now the Championship.
Wow.
Because we were an early kickoff, and then everyone else played. Now we got bundled back down the table. But such is life. We've never played top flight football. The highest we've ever been in the league structure is a championship. So my dad took me, and my dad's actually a West Ham fan. And for those who don't know the sort of situation in Essex is full of people who have migrated out of East London in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. For want of a better life, green spaces, better air quality, bigger houses, not piled on top of each other. Yeah, there was probably some multicultural reasons why people moved out. Everyone's got their reasons. But with that, a plethora of West Ham supporting people into Essex. And I remember being at school in the mid-90s, late 90s, early 2000s. I left school in the early 2000s. And you could go, and everybody's parents were from East London, or and there was, because of that, there was such a huge contingent of West Ham supporters, and that's always kind of overshadowed. It did overshadow our club for a long time. Southend, in fact, used to play on a Friday night. Our home games, we used to get them moved to a Friday night, so that on the Saturday, West Ham played at home. So fans would go Southend on a Friday night, then they'd go West Ham on the Saturday. I think there's a similar thing that goes on, not in terms of moving the games, but I know a lot of Derby fans go and watch Burton, and vice versa. So I hear. I think we got that where you've got a smaller club and a big club, and someone wants to watch football, like yourself, like you were telling me earlier. Obviously Preston aren't playing your club because World Cup's on, but you still want to get your fix of football, so you're going to go somewhere, aren't you? Exactly. So my dad wanted me to be a West Ham supporter, and come on, it'd be like a typical the way they talk. I mean, their accent is a bit more stronger than ours, and Essex accent is a bit weaker than a Cockney accent. But he's obviously a Cockney, so he's like, "Oh, come on, come down, watch Happy Hammers, yeah." And I'm like, "Dad, I'm born in Rochford Hospital. Rochford is a little town outside Southend, so practically I'm born in Southend. Now, if I'm born in Southend, why would I go and support a club that's 35 miles up the road from a different area inside London that doesn't represent who I am? Yeah. I'm from Essex. I'm a Southender. I'm not a Cockney. Even though if I go up north, if I went to Preston, if I went to Bolton, right, half your fans would be calling me probably a flash Cockney bastard or something like that. Because you lot don't seem to be able to differentiate Essex with East London for some reason. And we come up there and you think like an episode of fucking EastEnders and an on-tour circus. But yeah, so I want to support my local club because, as you see behind me, that club represents who I am as a person, and that's where the love affair started. So yeah, I've been home and away all over the country, and yeah, I love it. We've had our share of small glories. I mean, we beat Man United 1-0 in League Cup. Freddie Eastwood, top corner, free kick. 2007-2008 season, I believe. Ronaldo playing at Roots Hall, couldn't score.
Wow.
So, well, obviously when he was at his first stint at Man United before he went off playing in Europe. But yeah, no, we've had our small victories and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, you guys will know yourself. I mean, fucking Preston. I bet you lot wish you'd either get relegated or go up just to have something different to do.
Wow,
Bolton as well for you guys. You've been through it, like through the whole thing.
Yeah.
In a way, even though you don't want a club to be at risk, you don't mind the adventure. And I liken your situation to Rangers, because if you're a Rangers fan or Bolton fan, you're thinking, "Fuck Championship, most seasons, same old fucking clubs, same old clubs." But here we go. Let's go on a tour. Let's end up in the bottom league and work our way back. And then we can go to weird, wonderful places, take them over, take Accrington over, take Crawley over, knock the place out, bit of different scenery, and it's great if you want to tick off some of the 92.
Yeah.
Go starting up. And in fact, Bolton, your fans, if you did the 92 naturally without going to other clubs, you probably got a lot of that covered because late 90s you're in Premier League. Next minute, recently you're in League Two, been League One, been Championships, and you got a lot covered.
I mean, the only problem with
Preston
League Two was it was behind closed doors, wasn't it? So when we went up, I mean, there was fans at Crawley. They met them at the end, and then at the stadium, it was obviously lockdown, but you weren't stopping us having a party. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
so
exactly.
Exactly. But
they were tough times. I mean, and speaking of the pandemic, it was tough for us because we fell out the league during the pandemic season. I couldn't be there to register my disgust to end up on the pitch and everything. I had to sit at home watching us get relegated and fall out the league because I think the league they sorted out so you could watch home games and stuff like that through their websites and stuff like that, which was really good. And yeah, so that happened. I had to watch Southend get relegated, crying on my sofa after a few beers. But
I'm just going to turn this heating off because it's making too much noise.
Oh, bloody hell. I don't know what it's doing.
Take the whip it out for a walk.
Right. Well, I guess we should better move on a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
Right. So basically, we want to get started on the basically what the situation is at Southend United right now. Like, why is it as bad as it is? How it ended up going down to the National League for the first time in 100 and so years.
We've never fallen out the league since we were elected to it. So this is our first relegation into non-league. Yeah. I'll give you the background and I'll tell you the story. So in 1998. We were bought by a property development firm, and the head of that firm was Ron Martin. His idea was that Roots Hall, which it is true, which you can see behind me, is falling apart. Although it's got charm, it's got style, and a lot of fans, away fans, like it, and us Southend fans like it as well. it's not fit for purpose. The huge costs involved, even the floodlights, because they're older floodlights, the bulbs for them, right, are massive amounts of money compared to modern technology and floodlights with LED and stuff like that, or however they do it, which is much cheaper. So the running costs are huge. So the idea is that he comes in as a property developer, no interest in football. He comes in, he buys the football club, and his idea is, I'll buy this, I'll build them a new stadium. While I'm doing that, the current site there on Roots Hall, I will sell that. It's in a prime location in the middle of what is now Southend City. And I'll turn that into flats, whatever. I'll flip it. I'll make lots of money. The football club wins. I win. I sail off into the sunset. Everyone's a winner. Trouble with that is, the plan itself, if it all comes off properly, what has happened with a lot of football clubs, is a good one. It does work. Because the idea was, when we build our new stadium, there would be commercial stuff around it, and they would pay us rent while we're not playing football. So we're bringing in income while we're not playing. Saying that, Bolton, when I was last at Bolton a few seasons back, that stuff around your ground, is it owned by Bolton?
Yeah.
It is. So you're getting income from that when the football's not being played, right? So
we are now, yeah.
That was the same example, like you built with your new stadium. No, it's not this, that no anymore. But yeah. So what happens is that all gets into place. Things start moving forward. 98 turns into 99, into 2000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's, on a planning terms, very difficult, because you're not just building a development and moving a club. You're building a development, but at the same time, in tandem, redeveloping the old development. So everything has to work hand in hand. So 2008 comes, and things are about ready to move forward finally. Then we have the markets crash. 2008 crash. The price of steel goes through the roof. All of a sudden, the stadium's not looking financially viable. Things have to go back to the drawing board. Plans have to be tweaked. And Sainsbury's were involved. Sainsbury's wanted to build a new great big flagship store on the site of Roots Hall. But they pulled out. The reason why they pulled out is, during the 90s, trends with supermarkets was, we got to have big stores with everything under one roof, open 24 hours. That was the trend. Since then, getting towards 2008, 2009, 2010, things are different now. It's about having slightly smaller stores, but located in more often locations, which is what Aldi and Lidl do. And that's how they've taken on the market. Because of that, Sainsbury's thought, our plans have changed now. We don't want to do it anymore. We pulled out. All this time, though, while they were involved, they were bankrolling the football club. So Ron Martin's been getting money off Sainsbury's. But Ron Martin's had a touch and been lucky, because Sainsbury's have pulled out and they've not asked for their money back. They've written it off. They've written it off, and Ron Martin's pulled the wool over Sainsbury's eyes. So things move on, and we are more where we are today. Another long road of another 10 years on top of plans being called in by the Secretary of State, council not approving this but approving that, case studies have to be done, traffic implementation, everything like that, impacts on the local area. Plus we had some local NIMBYs, in other words, not in my backyard, who didn't want the football stadium, and they kicked up a fuss, probably West Ham supporters. But anyway, so yeah, we get to where we are today, and as it currently stands, the training pitches for the new stadium are under construction, phase 1. But the problem we've got now with our development is there's no commercial. There was going to be a whole parade, and when I say parade, you're probably talking, I don't know, in the length of a street, an average street, in terms of JD Sports, whoever, paying us rent. All of a sudden, that's gone out the window now, and we've got no commercial like that. We had a hotel and a casino that was going to be built onto the side of the stands as part of the superstructure. That's gone now. Hotel chain Hilton pulled out. Casino, not happening. Southend's already got 3 casinos. cancel one. Let's have another one. That's all right. That's all right. Well, there's ideas for a cinema. No, can't have a cinema. We've all got 2 cinemas in the city. Can't do that. So now all we're left with is a stadium that's going to have a function room that can accommodate 1,000 people, because people are queuing up to get married at new football stadiums. I've heard. Not, but yeah. So we do. What I don't see is how the money is going to be generated on a non-match day basis. Yes, we might be able to have concerts and stuff like that in the stadium, but you're not going to be able to sell that out and have Elton John down there every week. I mean, even Colchester had Elton Poxy John. So that's where we are currently, and it's a shit show. And all it comes down to is Ron Martin not having the funds to see this project through. But not only that, not admitting that he doesn't have the funds and won't accept outside investment or any outside help. And that's why my group was set up, Save Our Southend, which has been going a number of years now, to hold him to account on this. Our supporters' trust, I have felt, hasn't always been the strongest voice. They tend to, or have done in the past, cuddled up to the club too much. They get stars in their eyes and they'll all have a meeting with the chairman and everything like that. And their motto is to help, not hinder. So anything that ever goes against the club, they think, we're not helping a club, we're not a club. No, sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind. Sometimes you've got to speak truth to power and say, you are no good running our football club. You are not the football club. You're the current owner, but you are not the football club. We are the football club. And what we should do is do everything in our power to oust you, like at Blackpool, like at Leyton Orient, for a better future for the football club. So there you go.
Yeah. So I saw, despite all this situation, all the fans they're always turning up, selling, getting a few thousand at home. Yesterday, 600 at Gateshead, which is a hell of a lot.
712.
712. Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic for a distance like that.
Essex up
and
to
in the National League too.
It's huge. But not just that, our home attendances as well. I mean, last season in the National League, I think Tuesday night we had about 8,000.
Bloody hell.
Last home game it was well over 6,000. We average about 6,000-7,000. And that's for a club that last season was fighting relegation out into what would be going into the Conference South. So we've got the support. On our day, we can bring as many fans as any of the other non-league clubs. And when I say that, I'm talking your Wrexhams, your Notts Counties. We've just got just as much as detailed and varied history as they have. And yeah, we've got the numbers. Don't forget, Essex itself, or South Essex, where the city's located, has over 1 million people. Over 200,000 in the city of Southend alone, without the surrounding boroughs, all the way along, over 1 million people. It's one of the most densely populated areas outside of London in the country. And that is where we draw our support from. That's where we draw our support. And going back to what I said earlier about the West Ham thing and people's parents being from East London, well, them people now, the first generation West Ham fans, they've all had kids now. And them kids are born down here. And they're supporting their local club. They're supporting Southend. That's why in the 90s, when we was in the Championship, 5,000 at home would be a good attendance for us in the Championship, right? Now we're doing better than that, 3 leagues down, because it's a generational change of more people being born down here, more young lads being born down here, and them supporting Southend, supporting their local club. So it's grown, but it's a fucking travesty. And it's not all about who's got the biggest support has a right to be in a football league, but it's a travesty that a club of our stature, when I say stature, I mean lower league football stature. I'm not pretending that we're some, brilliant team who's been in Europe or been in the top division, because we haven't. But we've been league regulars, for over 90 years, so... or however long it is, we're talking decades and decades and decades, and we're in this position. It's not right, and that's a biased view from me. But I do feel a lot of other fans around the country share that view, that we shouldn't be in this situation. And it only comes down to one man, because of his lack of funds. Instances of players not being paid, backroom staff not being paid. We've currently got a Save Us Southend have set up a GoFundMe page that's been going a week, right, to pay or help pay wages of non-playing staff, because the playing staff have got some protection under the PFA when it comes to wages, but non-playing staff haven't. You know, people who sell tickets, people who sell programs, people who do this, that, and the other, that run the football club, the heart of the football club. And in a week, or just over a week, we've had £20,000 already in donations. A lot of them come from Wrexham fans. I'd like to put on record thanks to Wrexham fans especially, and other fans, but they backed it quite heavily. And I do think that comes from
Wrexham
their own
because
experience.
they've been in that sort of situation themselves. They had to really step up to save their own club, and they managed to get just enough to manage to do it.
So that's the situation regarding that. So
yeah, they know what it's like, and you know, fair play, absolutely brilliant.
I could tell you exactly what it's like.
Yeah, obviously, yeah. With yourselves at Bolton, you've been through the grinder as well, haven't you? So
yeah, I mean, same thing that you did. I set up a Just Giving page, and we walked 6 miles from where Burnton Park was to the stadium.
Yeah,
and we raised, I think it was £3,000, bang on £3,000. And they let us go on the pitch, and our kids go on the pitch and all that. And some of our kids were running on the pitch, and you know, it's something, memories like that and stuff. And then I'm going through a difficult time right now, as you all know.
Yeah. We talked about this
and the club has been absolutely amazing with me. Like, you know, the Reverend's, he's in contact with me. Sharon Britton, who is the owner, I know her through, I did a mental health walk with her last year. So she said, if you ever need someone to talk to, or ring the club, stuff like that. And sorry, say that again.
Club chaplain, like a lot of clubs have got like a religious connection with a priest or a local reverend, something like that. Yeah, no, that's good. I think that's brilliant, because you know, mental health and football supporters is a big thing. And a lot of people who aren't really that into football, my wife, for example, would be really miffed at, you know, why do you care so much? But what they don't understand is football is a de facto religion. It's something that you know, you give your time to, you give your emotions to, your passion, you drive your money. And for a lot of people like me, growing up watching Southend, you build your whole social circle around a football club. So all your close mates are Southend fans and everything. It all brings you together and gives you something in common. So what better place when you're down, when you're upset, when you're facing tragedy, when you're facing whatever in your life, than someone at your football club or your mates who support Bolton or Preston or whatever, to rally around you and support you.
Well, it's like that, you know. I mean, it's like, how'd you explain it? It's just been amazing. Like, obviously, you know that I lost my friend to suicide and went to his funeral the other day, and it was really, really hard. And this is why I want more men to speak out. You know what I mean? Because in February, I tried it myself, because I'll be honest with you, I was being domestically abused and all sorts. And, you know, more men need to speak out. You shouldn't have to get to that for them to get help. And it's like the other night, one of my friends, he basically was stood on a railway bridge, and he put all over Facebook that he was going to do it. So I had to ring the police. Now he's in this process of getting help. But again, it shouldn't come to that. You should be able to speak out and not be judged. But the problem is, a lot of men do get judged. And it's not just men, it's women as well. But yeah, you know, that's...
I do think that there is another dimension to this, another angle. You're correct. Men don't often speak out.
No.
But I would say especially men who have a tendency to, and this is anecdotal, but the way I see it, are into football, who like football. And I'll tell you why. Because to be a football supporter, to support a club, you are preconditioned and brought up to have that macho alpha male image.
Yeah.
That any kind of emotion other than what's going on to the pitch if you get relegated or whatever, have a few tears. Any other emotion away from that that's not connected to the football that might make you seem a bit more effeminate in some people's eyes or stuff like that, that's a no-no in football circles. And I think that's why it makes it especially difficult for male football fans to speak out against any mental health issues they're suffering and stuff like that. Because like I say, we're preconditioned and brought up through the 80s, through the 90s, that, that you've got to be a man, you've got to be alpha male, you can't, anything that even brushes near towards homosexuality, anything like that, wrong. I've been at games and people are shouting Chelsea rent boys. I've been the amount of abuse Brighton fans get, homosexual abuse, right? Of Brighton fans, and Brighton fans, some of their lads are some of the toughest fuckers I know, right? Who are so far removed from that kind of sexuality you wouldn't believe. But it's a stereotype, and they get grief. I mean, fucking Preston. I mean, you must the amount of shit you probably give when you play Burnley or Blackburn. Do you know what I mean? That must border on, certain issues. I mean, but Bolton, when you play Wigan or whoever, do you know what I mean? Same thing.
It's like when we play Wigan, there's always hell. There's always fighting, but most fans are generally well behaved.
Yeah.
You just get the odd few that like to cause trouble, like any club. But I have a lot of respect for Wigan, to be honest, because they went through the same thing as us. And I've got a friend that's a Wigan fan, and again, he suffers with mental health issues. And the thought of him losing his club, well, it's unbearable for him because, it's his coping mechanism.
I think though owners have a lot to answer for with some of this though, because you say like your mate who's a Wigan fan, the prospect of losing his club. Well, that's what happened if you take a relatively small club from somewhere like Springfield Park, right? Pile them with a load of steroids, build them a massive new ground that's too big for them, shoot them up the football leagues, and then when the owner has had enough or moves on, the whole thing collapses because you don't have the generations of core support built up with them numbers to back up your league position or your stature, and then it all comes tumbling down. You guys might remember what happened with Gretna in the Scottish Premier League. Gretna Green is like a place where it's quite traditional to get married in Scotland, but you're talking a tiny town here, probably half the size of Burnley, right? And this guy buys his club and he shoots them up through the Scottish leagues, which is not hard to do on a relatively small sum of money through the Scottish leagues. And all of a sudden they're in the Scottish Premier League and they're getting like 2,000 fans, or maxed out when Celtic and Rangers play because they'll mob the place out. All of a sudden the owner gets bored of it and leaves, and all of a sudden they plummet. I think they went out of business in the end because they just can't sustain. Core support of a football club takes generations to build up them levels of support, to support the stature of where you are. Yes, there'll be some clubs who are higher than they really should be, and there's some who are lower than they should be. But in the case of Wigan, owners have a lot to answer for. You pick up a club, if you're not in it for the long term, for the long haul, to take it all the way and then put it in safe hands if you want to sell it, then you're going to get problems like that.
Right. 1 minute, because Zoom has just told me how long we've got left, and it says on the counter 6.5 minutes left. So,
do you want to ask me? Ask me anything.
Yes. So yeah, I don't have Zoom Pro. Well, yeah, I'm not paying for that, unfortunately.
How much is Zoom Pro? Do you want me to send you a kit?
I have no idea how much it is, but I'm not paying for it, and plus we don't need it.
He wants to run a podcast, minutes, but he won't shell out for it. I'll tell you what, I'll invest in your podcast, right? You can have me on every week with you, and you if you want, and I'll pay say you got Zoom Pro. How about that?
Well, I'll be able to do it as well.
See, us Southerners, paying for us for you Northerners again. North, South, divide.
I suppose this will end up being the shortest of all the podcasts.
But That's the thing with a podcast. You just get people on and you just chat shit.
Yeah.
Chat shit, but it's interesting shit that people can relate to. You know, they can relate to this. Southend fans will see this, they'll relate to it. Other fans of other clubs will relate to it and say, well, see that guy Scott there, True Blue, he's talking a lot of sense because we've been through that. And it's exactly the same and people relate to that. Starts conversations and people will watch the next one. It'll have me on it. Of course they'll watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
So is there a plan to try and get Ron Martin out? What's the progress on that?
Okay, so the plan is just by protesting, he's not gonna look out of his window one day from his office and say, "Oh look, they're protesting outside. What have I done? Oh no, I better sell the club." It doesn't work like that in the real world. But what it will do, it will highlight the plight at Southend. It will show to the wider footballing community what's going on. It gets on the news. I mean, I've done interviews on Anglia News, BBC. I've been on TalkSport having a row with not Jim White, the other one, Simon. What's his face?
Simon Jordan.
Simon Jordan. Yeah, I'll find you a clip of that offline. I'll send that to you. Me and him went toe to toe on the show after that's on at 10 o'clock onwards or whenever it is. It highlights the plight of what's going on and what it does is you never know who's watching. You never know who might be a high net worth individual who might have deep pockets or something, who might be looking to get into football. You don't know that. And they're watching, they're thinking, Christ, Southend, they don't like their owner. This is a chance maybe for me to make inquiries. Can I invest some money into the club? Can I even buy the club? I'll be seen as a saviour. That'll make my job easier. Let's look at Southend. It's in Essex, high populated, great transport links. It's now a city, got an airport, got two express lines into the centre of London. Cool, what's not there to like? There you go. That's all it takes, that little snowball effect, get people interested. And that's what protest does. It's
I wonder if it'd be an idea getting Fogden on. I don't know if you know Fogden. I know him quite well.
He knows
Theo Ogden. Yeah. He's a massive Bolton fan.
No, I don't know Theo Ogden, no.
I know him, but he's doing a lot at the moment. He does a lot of podcasts, but he's got a lot of subscribers. I'll have a word with him, see if he can come on at some point.
Yeah. It's quite easy though, so it'd be difficult to get it on.
You can just put a link to our Just Giving page and everything else, and then, you know, hopefully this will take off and, you know, you guys will be famous and then it will thanks to me and, you know, you'll be the top podcasters in the UK football scene forever.
Well, I need to get my page running up again because I've ended up locking myself out of it. You know, because everything going on with my granddad and stuff like that. So I've had to start again.
You were not paying for pro, and what were you in locking yourself out of accounts? What hope have you got up the north of the border? Fuck me.
Oh, tell me about it. I'm all right now. I know what I'm doing now. It's just because I was rushing around doing everything.
Because I get this opinion that you all live in mud huts and, you know, electricity is scarce and, you know, stuff like that. Are you really that technologically shallow up there, honestly?
I live in Liverpool, right? And it's it's one of the most community-based places I've ever been.
Don't get me wrong, you know, I've got a lot of love for people in Liverpool, and you're exactly right there. Every time I've been up there, in fact, my first marriage, my stag do up there was brilliant, really friendly people. It wasn't that typical, he's a southerner, you know, fuck off you prick.
Yeah.
Like you would have got in Manchester, when I've been out in Manchester. Or Newcastle or places like that. Liverpool, no, really friendly people, good people.
They'll help anyone. Help anyone they can.
But generally, it's a great place, the city centre itself.
It is. It's fantastic.
Right, so it says meeting time 1.5 minutes. We're just going to do a bit of an outro now. So, well, it's been very good today, I should say. It's been a great talk. I feel like I've learnt a fair bit about Southend United.
Yeah, same here.
Maybe one day I could get myself down to Roots Hall because obviously I do also go onto random games.
You come down to Roots Hall
in random matches.
You come down.
Yeah, I'll come down as well.
I'll sort you out, and you come down. We'll dig down the pub for opening. We'll drink till kick off. Then we'll go to the game. Then we'll come out. We'll go back to the pub. Then we'll go for a curry.
Hey,
right? We'll have a good day.
I work for Ryanair now, so I can get your flights.
Well, you would if Ryanair hadn't have pulled out
to be honest.
Oh, they pulled out of Southend, haven't they? Yeah, yeah.
See, these EasyJet. You're going to have to change operators. But anyway, it's been great, lads. It's been a great experience.
Fantastic.
Great fun. We will do this again. Get me on the next one. I'll just come work this with you. Shall I just join the team?
Just come join us every single one if you want to.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I'm the one with the panache, and everything you need to make this fly.
Right.
And that was really gay.
That's been brilliant. And well, my next game is actually going to be up at Wraith Rovers v Auchinleck like Talbot. I've bought my ticket. That's in Kirkcaldy in Scotland. So look forward to that and any more podcasts whenever we do them. And I guess that is goodbye. Thank you for watching.
Okay.
And hope you enjoy.
Have a lovely afternoon and